Markelle Fultz has returned to the lineup. We spent a little bit of time when Fultz and Carter Jr. started to kind of look like they were going to be back on the ultimate fate of those guys. Why did the team play better without them? You've now started to see, Chris, the Wendell Carter Jr. could be on the trade market rumors begin with Wendell Carter.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just ask it this way. Is Fultz destined for the same fate? Is Fultz somebody we could see get traded as soon as 2 weeks from now?
I think so, and I think it would be with real merit for them. I understand the appeal of Fultz before the injury, 9 games, so like a very small sample, but was having a really good year as far as not turning the ball over with a good assist percentage on a slightly turned down usage rate. There's something in there that is interesting to me as a player, as a point guard. But as a shooter, as a scorer, he's not really giving what I think they're going to need from whatever their final destination point guard is going to be, Brendon. He's doesn't shoot from 3 well. He is inefficient from the mid-range, aside from last year in the short mid-range, and maybe in this year it wasn't off to a good start. And he's fine at the rim. He's good at the rim, above average at the rim, but overall his effective field goal percentage is below average for combo guards and for guards in general. And that's not good enough. I also just don't think the decision-making for him and the way he leads an offense, so to speak, is what I really want for them as their final destination point guard. I want them to have someone who can be a little malleable off ball, who can shoot threes a little bit, but also can kind of organize the troops a little bit when you need them to. I think they just need a different energy from the spot, and then he has a contract that I would be that is a salary at $17 million that is you can do something with. It's not, again, totally fair to him, but this is what happens when you're team building. It's like you get the guy making $17 million who isn't a perfect fit, who's gonna be a free agent. Like maybe you trade him and go get someone who try to find someone who fits a lot better. And again, this is another team. If they're gonna have cap space in theory, who are they gonna go pay that's like worth it in free agency? Why not go try to trade for someone right now that can actually fit with them better? And instead of getting backed into a corner and being like, D'Angelo Russell, would you like $20 million? We're in a panic. We need a point guard.
Yeah, I think Orlando, even if they used their cap space, it would be much more on like another Joe Ingles type than it would be anything like that. Because their team's going to get expensive before long. Maybe they want to get one guy kind of locked in before the team gets, the rookie guys start to get maxes off of their, extensions off their rookie deals and whatnot. But to me, it's really just about kind of the fit of the roster. And Fultz, I think he's going to have a pretty long career, personally. I mean, if he can stay healthy. And that's really the biggest thing. And you can set aside the stuff at the beginning of his career. Even lately, he has just really struggled to stay on the court, even in Orlando. But I think he can have a long career as a backup point guard. I think kind of where he's slotted in as he's developed and we've gotten to see really what like the real Markelle Fultz is going to be is like a bigger, better passing TJ McConnell. Right? Or like DeJounte Murray, who's maybe not as quick and can't shoot threes. Like he is sort of that point guard defender who can set the table, but because he doesn't have that legitimate deep shooting ability and because he's not an overwhelming down to the, downhill to the basket type of guy, that makes him a backup. So I think there is a little bit of pressure to use that contract now for some of the cap reasons we were talking about, some of the future forward-looking financial stuff that we could spend, a whole day breaking down if we wanted to. There's a little bit of pressure to say, like, turn this into something because he's probably not getting $17 million on his next contract. So that chip is going to go away. I guess where I would maybe bump up against a little bit, though, if I'm being realistic, is this is the organization that kind of saved his career, right? They took a chance on him. They committed to him, they developed him, they trusted him, and they paid him. And so I would get it on both sides if there was a little bit of like, we're not going to do that to him type of thing. If he walks in free agency, if it doesn't make sense, to be together long term, so be it. But we're not going to like screw him in that way. Is that too precious, or do you think that could actually matter here?
I think that stuff can matter, but I also just ultimately think that is, unless you're a star player, it is too precious. I think, Brendon, the bigger problem for me in a macro sense is the problem is finding a point guard on this market who actually fits what they need, who fits this team. I can't
on this market, meaning to trade for right now or to sign.
Yeah, free agency, I think, is like a whole other can of worms. But who on this trade market that is a realistically available point guard that they could go get? I think who would you look at as like a really good fit?
I don't think that's going to happen right now. I don't think they're trading Fultz for another point guard. I think they're just trading Fultz for kind of anything that might help them that has maybe a little bit of a longer runway as an asset because he's about to expire. That's where I look at it. I don't think they're going to go Fultz plus this pick plus that pick, and here's our point guard of the future. I don't see that either.
Yeah, that's probably a better way of looking at it. I also just don't know what they add would be really interesting, and maybe there's like a bigger splash we're not seeing where it's like Fultz and Wendell's numbers together for something more aggressive. But like we've talked about this, I don't really love them as like a Levine team, and that's not going to make your costs any more sustainable down the line. Like he's kind of locked up for a lot of money for a long time, so I don't really know what the deal even exactly is for them. And they have some other guys out of the rotation they could also just trade as well if they wanted to just keep Fultz and figure it out later. Like you could do that and re-sign him, and maybe like it wouldn't shock me if maybe they don't trade him, Brendon. They see how it goes the rest of this year. They re-sign him for lesser money over 3 years, and you revisit this again in a year. You just kind of punt the conversation on a run a ride this year. That wouldn't be like bad GMing to me even. That would make some sense. I think it'd be pretty practical considering going all in too early or doing something too aggressive at the wrong time when it's not exactly the right thing wouldn't make sense to me if that's the path they wanted to go.
It's kind of surprised me that they haven't come up in the DeJounte Murray rumor mill, personally. I think they could also just maybe, if we are talking about free agency, are they the team that signs Tyus Jones? I could see it.
Yeah, I would like to. Even just them, I think Tyus is making I don't remember how much he's making, but like Chumo Kiki and some other salaries.
I think
just go get him now.
Sure. I think Terry Rozier is going to have suitors among contenders, but he would have been a somewhat of a fun fit.
$14 million for Tyus, by the way. Terry Rozier, by the way, in some of the latest reporting, has a strong desire to go to the Miami Heat. Yeah. I was like, sure. Shocked by that one, Terry.
What a take. You want to live on South Beach and play with the best organization in the league. Welcome to the party. Wouldn't everybody like that? But you know what I was thinking? And this would just be leaning into the full chaos of Orlando. This really isn't a Fultz thing so much as just who would be kind of their lead playmaker down the line. And it would be definitely multiplying the weirdness of that already is here on their roster. So maybe it's not the right answer. But I would love if our expectations about a team at the top of the West were to come true and a trade were to happen to kind of break apart that team, that the Magic would swoop in and be the permanent long-term home of Josh Giddey.
I don't hate that. I don't hate that, Brendon. It is bold, it is funky, but it keeps them within the big energy that they like to have. I thought about this team as I like your inspire and move here because my thought was maybe, is this like a Trae Young team in 6 months? But this is
kind of
more fitting.